Hey doing guys, welcome to the Fit for 90 podcast. I am your host, Cayman Bandel, footballer and strength and conditioning coach. Today's episode is all around why most gym programs that we see out there do not transfer to the pitch. Now, I'm going to say something that's probably going to annoy a few of you. Most of what you are doing in the gym isn't transferring, and it's a waste of time, especially if football performance is your main priority. And it's not because the program is bad or because the exercises are wrong. It's the outcome in which you're training for. That's what's wrong. And if you're someone who's in the gym really consistently, you're getting stronger, maybe even looking better, but you're not actually feeling sharper or more powerful on a Saturday, this episode is literally for you. So I'm going to run through a few key things we see with gym programs that don't transfer to the pitch, and I'm going to help you guys to make some changes so you can take it away and implement it into your own training. The first problem that we see is most gym programs that you're going through right now, or the way that you're training right now, is likely built for aesthetics, not for athleticism. There'll be programs out there and programs you're doing right now that are built around training muscle groups, training specific body parts, hypertrophy, so trying to get a muscle bigger, pump work, so chasing that pump in the gym and looking good. Now listen, there's nothing wrong with looking good, by the way. I genuinely believe every player wants to look good as well. I get that. But football is not about how your chest looks in a vest or how big your biceps look in a t-shirt, right? It's about your ability to sprint repeatedly, acceleration, deceleration, your ability to do that really, really well, how well you change direction, how efficiently you can do that, what you're like when you go into a 50-50 battle. Or do you come out of that feeling like you've been hit by a bus, or do you feel quite robust? And also your recovery between high intensity effort, so your conditioning. If your training isn't built around those demands, it's not going to transfer. It's as simple as that. More muscle does not mean better movement quality. And right now, the way that you're training in the gym is likely for aesthetics and not for performance. This brings me to the second point, which is you train muscles over movements. In football, we don't use isolated body parts. We don't move in isolation. The body moves as a system. It moves as one. But most gym programs will have you training individual body parts in isolation. It will split things up. Chest day, back day, leg day, arm day. Football doesn't work like that, right? We need to integrate that strength throughout the whole body. We need core stability. We need posterior chain development, hamstrings, glutes, calves, lower back. We need rotational control. We need anti-rotational control. You need single leg power. All of those things are athletic training. It brings me to the point, I was speaking to one of my players earlier about this in the week. We have something called a force velocity curve, which I won't go into depth right now too much, because this is literally an episode for another day, I think. But the force velocity curve looks at different qualities, different performance qualities that we should be training as athletes. You've got maximal strength. You've then got strength speed, which is like a prerequisite to building power. You've then got power itself as a quality. We've then got speed strength, which is reactive strength. And then we've got maximal speed and maximal velocity. These are all different qualities along this curve that we call the force velocity curve. So essentially, at one end of the curve, maximal strength, you're producing high amounts of force at quite low speeds. Think about doing like a trap bar deadlift. You're going to be doing like a really heavy trap bar deadlift. The bar's moving quite slowly, but the force you're producing is quite high because there's quite a heavy load on there, right? As we then work to the bottom of that curve, maximal speed or power or ballistics or reactive strength, you might use that same exercise, a trap bar deadlift, for example, but now you might be at 50% of the weight, moving it with more speed. So suddenly the force isn't as much, or the load, isn't as much, but you're now working to move that with more speed and more velocity with maximal intent. This one exercise we just explained, the trap bar deadlift, can be tweaked and changed across that force velocity curve. The reason why I'm talking about this force velocity curve, because it comes back to this idea of training muscles over movements and making sure that when you step into the gym, you've got a clear idea of what you're training. Are you training for maximal strength? Are you training power? Are you training to get faster or maximal velocity or speed? What's the focus? Right now, you're probably stepping into the gym really with no focus and probably looking at your workout on paper and thinking, oh yeah, I'm just going to go and do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'll do some 30 seconds on, 30 second on off runs at the end. That'll hit my conditioning. It's not enough. And it's the reason why you're feeling flat on a game day. So you need to start making some changes. And the first way to do that is start looking at movements over muscles. Start looking at, first of all, what's the training quality using that force velocity that I've briefly explained, force velocity curve that I've briefly explained. But look at the movements, squats, push, pull, pressing, speed work, plyometrics. Don't just go in and train your chest and your back and your biceps. It's not enough. The third thing is the biggest thing. This is probably the biggest one, is when you step into the gym, there's no power, there's no speed, there's no intent. This comes back to what I've just said about that curve. Your gym work, your strength that you're building will never transfer if you don't train power, speed, or there's no intent in your lifting. If everything is slow, if everything is controlled, and you're just grinding reps out, I'm not saying don't control your reps, but if everything all the time is slow, you're going to stay slow. Football is an explosive sport. It's a violent sport. It's chaotic. It's reactive. It's fast. You have to be prepared for the demand of that. If you never train force production, or you never train power, you can't expect them to kind of magically appear on a Saturday. If you've not exposed yourself to that consistently enough throughout the week at the right time over a period of weeks and months, there's no way you're going to be able to produce that level of power and speed on a game day. So you have to train those qualities throughout the week. You have to be consistent with it. And you have to know what you're doing when you step into the gym, because you need to train this safely as well. The fourth thing is there's no structure around your games. This is also a big one, because most bodybuilding type gym programs and most of the gym programs you see right now, they do not consider your football schedule at all. They're built in isolation from your schedule. So what happens is you might hit a heavy leg session on Thursday. You feel great in the gym. You wake up Friday, a little bit sore, not too bad. Saturday morning comes and then the DOMs hit you. And then your legs are in absolute bits. Your calves are tight, your hamstrings are tight, your quads are tight. You can't hit top speed. The problem here isn't necessarily the session itself, it's the timing of the session. The way that we train players inside the program is actually making sure that if we do any kind of lower body work closer to game day, we keep the volume very, very low. And generally we use it as a bit of a primer. If someone's lifting the day before a game, which you can do, by the way, you use it as a primer. You keep volume low, you move that weight with intent, you keep the athlete as fresh as possible. And we're just really firing up the nervous system to be able to perform the day after. So if you're someone who's going into the gym Thursday, Friday, but it's affecting and taken away from Saturday's performance, the timing of what you're doing is wrong. Good training at the wrong time, in a way, becomes bad training. Would you agree? Doesn't matter how good the program is. If you're doing it too close to game day and it's taken away from the one thing that you are training for, which is your performance on a Saturday, then of course it becomes detrimental to what you're doing. So you have to be smart and understand load management, understand when to push, when not to push. If you've got no structure around your games, it's something that you need to look at, especially with your current gym program. Number 5 is the idea of fatigue versus adaptation. A lot of players judge their gym sessions by how tired they feel. And if they're not blowing out of their arse by the end of that session, they don't think they did the work. They don't think the session worked. Your gym work is there to support your football. It's not the other way around. You shouldn't be competing with it. And if the gym is leaving you feeling flat on game day or in the days following, it's not doing its job. You must look at how you feel after a session, how you perform following the days following a specific gym session. If you're just chasing fatigue, make some changes. You need to be looking at trying to chase adaptations over time, not trying to just chase fatigue for the sake of chasing fatigue because it feels good and it feels hard. That's probably the reason why you're feeling flat on game day, and by the 60th minute, you're just dropping off. Number 6 is to recognize that the game now is probably faster than it's ever been. Something I've probably learned the hard way over the last, I'd say maybe 5-6 years. It demands more from you physically than it ever has. So I've had to change the way I train over the last 10 years, 12 years even, playing non-league football. Maybe I'd say at the start of that, it was still demanding, like physically demanding, but it wasn't as fast as it is now. Over the years, obviously I've got older, I'm 31 now. You see the younger lads coming in, they're better athletes than I think maybe we were as 18 years old and 19-year-olds. They're better athletes, the game's a little bit faster. You have to be prepared for that. You can't just be strong anymore. You have to be robust, you've got to be explosive, you've got to be faster. You need to be able to repeat efforts over the course of an hour and a half if you're playing full 90 minutes, and you've got to be durable. In a way, nowadays you have to be an athlete before you're a footballer, which I'm not a massive fan of. Like I grew up in watching like the likes of Ronaldo and Ronaldinho and these type of players who are like just unbelievable footballers, unbelievable players, skillful players. Even in the Premier League, like there were so many skillful footballers at that top level. I don't think you see as many skillful players now as we did back then. I think back then there were maybe better players, better footballers, and maybe not as great athletes. They were still top athletes for that time, but compare it to now, the guys now are a different level of athlete. And there's some of them are athletes and they have to be athletes before they're footballers. Now that doesn't happen accidentally. It's a way of training. It's the strength and the conditioning that has taken such a big focus nowadays to make players at any kind of, even at the elite level, even at those kind of lower levels, to take them to that next level. It's made them that the better athletes than maybe they have been in the past. So I'm not saying all of these things to stop you from going to the gym. I think the gym is very, very important. What I'm trying to say is making sure that when you step into that gym, when you step through those doors, what you're doing in there actually supports your football. If you're lifting heavy, but you're fading late in games, if you're getting leaner, but you're not really getting sharper or more explosive, if you look strong in the mirror, but you then lose 50-50s and you're losing headers, it's not that you need to train harder. You just need to start making some changes and train a little bit differently. You might not have the knowledge right now, and that's okay. You might not have the understanding, and that's okay. But for you to get a different outcome and different results, you have to do things differently. It's why everything we do inside Fit for 90 is built around performance and built around the pitch first. Your gym supports your football. Football doesn't revolve around the gym. If you want training that actually matters, you know where to find me. You can message me on Instagram. You can comment here on my podcast. But hopefully today is giving you almost a wake-up call into how to change and understand how to change your gym workouts, but also understand like the mistakes that you may be making right now. The main 6 were making sure that your gym program is built for athleticism, not just for aesthetics, training movements over muscles, making sure you're taking care of power, speed and intent when you're lifting, building this all around your match week and your match day, not just chasing fatigue when you're in the gym, but actually focus on adaptation over time and recognizing the game is faster now than ever. And you have to be making these changes if you want to keep up playing football way into your late 20s, into your 30s like I am right now. Appreciate you guys listening in. If you've got any questions, as always, please drop me a message. I'm always happy to have these conversations. I appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe, share this with your teammates, people who are close to you, teammates who maybe need to change the way that they train. I will see you guys on the next episode. Have a good one.